So this is a quick tutorial on how to mix down your MIDI tracks to audio and also to mix your entire session down to one final master mix audio file. So we're going to start with mixing down the MIDI to audio. So here's my MIDI track, and I have created a stereo audio track here and I named it MIDI to audio. So the first thing I'm going to do is set my input of my destination track to an open bus. So I'll choose bus 3 and 4, and I'm going to set next the output of my track that I want to record the material from to that same bus. So bus 3 and 4. Oops. Okay, so now the flow goes out of the MIDI track on bus 3 and 4 and into this destination audio track that I'm going to record that material down to. Record enable my destination audio track, and since I have 3 separate little MIDI clips here, I'm going to do them individually because I don't need to record all this empty space in between. So I'm just going to quickly do these 3 individual clips. So it's all routed correctly, and I'll go ahead and record.
It's not. From that film is successful and...
Oops, let me solo this. There we go. So the level is low, but it is recording, you can see coming in. Okay, so that's clip number 1. And then same process, I'll record that. Okay, and that's my second clip. Perfect. And finally, this last one. Record that. And once that is done, we are finished with our actual MIDI track, so I can mute that and hide it so I don't have extra stuff. So I'll mute that and make it go away temporarily. So now that I have my MIDI recorded to audio, I'm going to record everything down to my master mix audio track. So I'm going to set the input of my master mix. This is just a stereo audio track. I'm going to set my input here again to another open bus, so I'll choose 5 and 6. And then I want to route all of these tracks that I want to record down out that same bus. So Shift and Option, and that's going to change all my highlighted tracks to 5 and 6, and it did. And then I have to manually set my master fader to that same bus. Now I have a Maxim plugin here added here just to catch any clipping. Remember, that's in the dynamics, multi-channel dynamics category. So this is a mastering limiter, so it'll catch any clipping that might result from summing all of these audio tracks together. And I usually just, as a safety, bring this down to like -1.5, -2, depending on how loud your material is. So everything looks correct here. All my tracks are routed out bus 5 and 6, and they're coming in my main input bus 5 and 6 on my master track. Record enable. Make sure I'm returned back to the beginning of the session. And go ahead and start recording. Everything is recording down. Okay, I'm going to stop this just in in the interest of time, obviously you would let yours record throughout the your entire podcast, but I don't want to spend time sitting here, so I'm just going to pretend that I've recorded this to the end. And that's my master mix. Now I want to export this master mix out. So again, don't be confused. Yours will have audio throughout your entire mix track here. I just cut it short, so we didn't have to sit for 10 minutes listening to this, even though it's interesting. Okay, so I'm going to solo that, and I'm going to export this out. So I go into my clip bin here, open this up, and we'll pull down here, export clips as files, and the short key is Shift-Command-K. So if I choose that, I want to export it as a WAV file, interleave, 16-bit 44.1. Perfect. And all I do is, and you can choose where you want it to go. Right now it's going into the audio files folder of that podcast session folder. That's fine. Click export, and it's going to ask me specifically what do I want to call it. So I'm going to call this, make sure you put your name on it, podcast final game, even though it's Jordan's piece. And I want it to just go into the folder that I'm working in, into the session folder. I don't want it buried anywhere, so I'm going to do that, and then click save. Yes, I want to replace that one. And it's going to just process that and export that clip out. And that's what we're going to listen to. So that's mixing down in a nutshell. First I mixed down my MIDI to audio, and I muted my MIDI. Make sure you mute your original MIDI tracks, otherwise you'll get a doubling. And then I route everything down to one master mix track and export that out. There you go.